Summary of Spunk by Zora Neale Hurston. The first part of Spunk talks about Spunk Banks, who works at a local sawmill and is known for being strong and brave. He is admired by everyone in the town. The locals at the general store are shocked one day when they see Spunk going up the village's only street with married Lena Canty on his arm. Elijah Mosley, an onlooker, praises Spunk for being brave and bold, while Walter Thomas is shocked by Spunk's attention. The guys in the general store are just about done talking about Spunk when Lena's husband, Joe Canty, walks in. Joe is awkward, nervous, and self-conscious, which is the exact opposite of Spunk. The men in the shop know that Joe already knows that his wife just walked by with another man. Because of this, they think that Joe is weak and sad because he is not doing anything. Elijah starts to make fun of Joe about Lena's betrayal, which makes all the men laugh except Walter, who calls Elijah mean. After the shame and pain he goes through in the general store, Joe says he is going to find Lena and fetch her back. He pulls out the big and shiny razor from his pocket and shows it to the guys. He probably plans to use it to fight Spunk. Joe's new behavior is praised by Elijah, who says that Joe is finally acting like a man. Walter tells Joe that if he tries to attack Spunk with the razor, Spunk will probably kill him as he walks off into the woods to find Lena and Spunk. Elijah doesn't care about Walter's worry and instead tells the men a story about a fight that happened last week between Spunk, Joe, and Lena. Joe had been trying to win Lena back but failed horribly. Elijah recollects that Lena looked at Spunk with eyes so full of love that they was runnin' over when he told her that she was his and that he would take care of her from now on. The men are very excited for Joe to come back, and they hear the sharp report of a pistol somewhere distant. Spunk and Lena come out of the woods leisurely and go into the general store. He tells the men that he shot Joe to protect himself and doesn't feel bad about it. The men are mostly scared of Elijah because he told them that Spunk would never point his gun at Joe, but Spunk doesn't seem to be affected by what's going on in the woods at all. Spunk is arrested, but after a short hearing, he is found not guilty. He then goes back to his normal life with Lena and at work at the sawmill. After some time, on the first night that Spunk and Lena have lived together, they see a wild bobcat slinking around outside their window. Spunk quickly gets his gun. Spunk wanted to shoot the cat, but when he looked at it, he couldn't because he thought it was Joe sneaked back from hell to haunt him. Since they've never seen a cat like that before, the men talk about whether the bobcat really is Joe. Walter says Jack Spunk should be punished because he thinks Joe was a braver man than Spunk. The next night, the men get together to talk about the most recent person who was cut up by a circle saw. Spunk had been loading a wagon that day when he tripped and fell on the moving saw. Spunk was screaming and threatening the whole time, and Elijah says he thought Joe pushed Spunk into the machines. At Spunk's wake, Lena is very sad, and Spunk's body is lying on a homemade cooling board. When Joe's dad, Jeff Canty, gets there, he looks down at the body and imagines killing Spunk. At the same time, the men in the town are being rude to Lena, and the women are wondering who she will marry next.
About the author. Zora Neale Hurston grew up in late 19th century Eatonville, Florida. Hurston had a happy childhood until her mother died when she was 13. Her father quickly got married again, and Hurston started to think of home as a sad and empty place. She came to Maryland to take menial jobs as soon as she could. Hurston started writing around the same time as New York's Harlem Renaissance, an artistic movement for black freedom that lasted from the 1920s to the present. It was in New York that she first impressed the city's literary elite. Her writing career took off when she won second place in a writing contest put on by the magazine Opportunity, a journal of Negro life in 1925. She got second place in both the fiction and play categories. As an interesting and charming fresher in New York's hip creative circles, Hurston's skills were finally noticed. She got a grant to study anthropology at Barnard College, Columbia University, because of how well she did as a writer. Because Hurston wanted to show black cultures without being censored, her stories often showed how male power structures worked in the communities she wrote about. Peers from the Harlem Renaissance also didn't like this. They said she was risking confirming stereotypes in her mostly white audience. Hurston's work fell out of favor later in life because she didn't agree with the political and cultural goals of the Harlem Renaissance. Hurston never made enough money to live on, even though she was well known for her work during those years. As a young woman, she ran away from poverty in Florida, so it is very strange that she died there, alone and poor at age 69.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.